Now, we're all used to the picture postcard images of the Caribbean palm trees, lush forests as well, and of course beautiful beaches. This year, though, well, some parts of the Caribbean coast have looked nothing like a dream holiday destination. Dozens of tons of algae have swamped the turquoise waters in several areas full of tourists. It's a floating and mobile algae called sargassum that breeds pretty rapidly and is invading the water at an alarming rate. Well, scientists believe it's the result of rising ocean temperatures and pollution from fertilizer, which has run off into the sea. France 24's Laurence Cavillier and Mathieu Comin have this report.
The Riviera Maya, turquoise water, white sand, looks just like a postcard. Its dreamy beaches have been laced with rotting brown algae since April. More piles up there every day. In Cancun's hotel zone, workers take to the beach every morning to fight the invasion or turn it into decoration.
The first few days we were here, it was really pretty heavy, so we weren't able to get in the water. But it seems to be a lot more clear today. And this hotel does a really nice job of raking it up and burying it each morning, so that really helps the guests as well.
ROBERTO, the owner of this hotel, is trying to stop a downward spiral, but he couldn't avoid a few wedding cancellations at his beach. Now he's just keeping his fingers crossed there won't be a domino effect.
People booked their summer holidays for July and August 2 to 3 months ahead, so we had a really high occupancy rate, above 86%. The real test will be in September, October and November. That's when we'll really see how much of an impact it has.
Tourism is Mexico's third source of income. The country's Fund for Natural Disasters has set aside $3.2 million to help clean up the beaches. But a lot of the work is happening kilometers away from the shore.
We're going out to try to intercept the currents that are bringing the sargassum back towards the Mexican coast.
The government's hired a private company to put an 8-kilometer-long floating barrier around the hotel zone.
We're going to catch the sargassum and redirect it with the strong ocean currents so that it can continue its life cycle elsewhere. It's a way of preserving the ecosystem around the coast.
That's because the explosion of sargassum turns the water opaque, blocking photosynthesis and oxygenation in the coral systems below. Waves of sargassum first appeared in 2013 and 2015, but this year's onslaught has broken all records. Researchers are concerned about this new phenomenon, which they put down to climate change and water pollution from agricultural fertilizers.
This is a species known as fluitans.
From her laboratory in Puerto Morelos, BRIGITTA von TUSSENBROEKE has noticed that the sargassum comes from a region in the Atlantic between Africa and Brazil.
There's a chance, well, a strong possibility, I think, that certain crustaceans, microorganisms and other types of marine fauna have come from Africa via the sargassum. The marine fauna in Africa is very different, and there's a risk that we're introducing species that aren't native to this region.
She says there's no way to avoid this. Unless humankind radically changes its practices, this algae will become part of life here. Over the last few months, there's been a race to find the most useful things to do with it. Saul's an industrial designer. From his home, he's been figuring out how to turn marine plants into bioplastics. Plant pots, bricks, industrial pallets. He's sure the possibilities are endless.
With good research and funding, we could develop cartridges of sargassum paste for 3D printers. Maybe one day it will be more lucrative or environmental friendly to harvest sargassum out in the ocean than to plant trees like pine that take 20 years before they can be chopped down.
Sargassum can double its weight in just 18 days. A few kilometers away, a team of renewable energy researchers are focused on getting natural gas from the algae.
Once we've inserted sargassum into the mushroom, we put it in the incubator.
Dry sargassum and mushrooms. a simple and clean mix to make methane.
What's important here is that throughout the process, we try to only use microorganisms that are native to this area. The mushroom that has been inoculated is a local variety.
The first trials have been promising. They got 90 litres of methane from 1 kilogram of dry sargassum.
To produce biofuel, you normally need large quantities of agricultural waste, and this can be very costly. But in this case, the sargassum is coming to us, and there is plenty of it available.
The researchers hope their project will be ready for large-scale production within 6 months. The pressure's on, as this environmental emergency is already well underway. Time will tell if Mexico manages to turn this nightmare into an opportunity.